What's going on, everyone? It's Bowles, and welcome back to another Manchester United match reaction. 0-0 was the game, and to be quite frank, it was quite a boring game. Not too many highlights in the game, but we'll discuss that and all the stuff that happened in the game and player ratings. But make sure if you're watching the video, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All the supporters on the channel is very much appreciated, and turn notifications on so I don't miss when I go live in the future or any other content I release. So 0-0, it was quite boring, to be frank. I thought that it was very much played in the midfield. I think there was just a lot of possession based stuff and not too many chances. Manchester City had a few chances. I think we started off quite well. I think we started off bright. I think our pressing was very good in the first half. I think that we had our fair share of possession. Man City did create the better chance of the first half. We had a couple of chances from set pieces, like McTominay at the back post from a flicked header from Lindelof, couldn't put it away. Lindelof flicked a header that went a little bit wide. We had a couple of chances there. But I think Man City with what a block by, I think it was Maguire from the Mahrez shot from memory. That was just a beautiful ball by Kevin De Bruyne. I know I'm a Manchester United fan, but I think you just have to appreciate Kevin De Bruyne, how good he is. That ball, people are probably gonna be like, oh, that was Luke Shaw's fault. He didn't stop him. It's like, well, Luke Shaw had to press him, because if he didn't, they would have been true for a goal. But I think it was just class of De Bruyne. He's a very, very good player. I really enjoy watching him play, except against Man United, obviously. But yeah, he's such a good player, and I think he actually quite a bit of a more quieter game from what I've seen from De Bruyne. But here, we're not talking about City, we're here to talk about United. Well, we're going to talk about the game, so I guess it's fine. There you go, I'm critiquing myself. Anyway, now I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, like that's what to say. The one thing I don't understand is how we can go from having a good, solid defensive base against probably the best team in the Premier League, I think, at the moment. I still think Man City are the best team. I think Liverpool with the injuries, I think it will start to haunt them with some results. But then again, Klopp's such a good manager, they might be able to come through that. But I still think Man City are probably the favourites for winning the title. And I thought that we had a very good, solid defensive base. We just weren't as attacking as what I would have liked. I would have liked to have been, instead of being a bit more, probably 70% defensive, 30% going forward, I would like to make close to 60-40 or even 50-50, or something like that, a split like that anyway. Because I think City did, in the second half, specifically for about a 20-minute patch from the 60th to about the 75th minute, maybe close to 80th minute, they did have us parked on the edge of our box and we had to defend lot. And I was sort of wondering why we're getting pushed, but I think we're getting pushed back to our box. But I think Man City were just pressing a bit more. But I think there was opportunities there to hit them on the counter and get them with a quick break. We had Martial brought on. We had Rashford on the pitch. We had Pogba and Bruno that could have fed them the ball. So I think there was a chance there to passing, especially in the second half of my liking. It was when they could have played that pass forward. We decided to go to the side and just sort of go from Lindelof to Maguire. Lindelof to Maguire, Shaw, then back to Lindelof, and then to Maguire, and then to MUNMCI. It was sort of just going across the back four, which was, again, made the game quite boring. I think for both Manchester United and Manchester City fans, they would have been still really intrigued by the game because it's obviously their two teams. But I think if all the other neutral fans watching, I think that they would have been quite bored because it was that game. It was just a lot more possession based, not a heap of chances created. I think there's about 9 or 10 shots apiece from each team. But yeah, there was just too many sideways passing. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, the players being a little bit more adventurous to try and create something. You saw little exchanges with Rashford and Martial and Bruno and Pogba with the 1-2 passing. One side got involved, especially in the first half, a lot with that as well, where we did look like we could string some good passes together and get an attack going, but then we'd sort of stop and then pass it back. And so that was pretty much the theme of the majority of the game. I think it was a lot better defensively, but my point I was trying to make was I don't know why we can't have a game plan and stick to it and have so Ollie has a philosophy. He doesn't, because we go from playing Leipzig midweek, we play 5 at the back with 2 CDMs. So it was essentially a 7-1-2 we were playing, to then before that against West Ham playing a 4-2-3-1 with 2 CDMs, and then today we played a little bit more of like almost like a 4-2-2 in a way, because you had Fred and McTominay as the CDMs, and you had Pogba playing quite wide left, but then you had sort of Bruno sort of rotating from central to out right, and then you had Greenwood was a little bit right, and then Rashford was on the left. So it was a little bit like a 4-2-2 in a way. You could have also called it maybe like a 4-3-1-2 in a way, with Pogba just more advanced than the other 2 midfielders. But I think it was a bit more of like almost like a 4-2-2. But yeah, it was just disappointing that we couldn't create some more chances than what we did. We didn't really have many big chances from open play. I think Bruno had a couple of longer shots as well. As I said, we had those chances in the first half. But I think all in all, I think a draw is probably deserved. I think Man City had better chances, but we did sort of look like defensively look like we control the game. But then again, I think Man City defended really well as well. I think that probably is going to get overlooked by a lot of people. I think Man City, their back four defended quite well. They did compress it a lot, so we didn't have a lot of space to create chances. But I still think we could have probably done a little bit better and been a bit more adventurous. But the one negative I still think that needs to be talked about in this game was the fact that we started Scott McTominay over Van der Beek again. I don't dislike McTominay. I think he's a decent enough player, right? He's not for me. He's not a first team player. He's not a guy that plays week in, week out like Fred and Bruno and guys like that. He is a guy that should be used in the squad and used not sparingly, but used every now and again. I don't think he's a starting 11 player. I think that we should have played Van der Beek instead of McTominay. I think you could have worked a diamond there with Fred at the base of it, Van der Beek on the right, Pogba on the left if you want to play him. I know a lot of people disagreeing with playing him. At the end of the day, if Ollie uses him, I'm going to get behind him. At the moment, he's still a Manchester United player, regardless of what's going on the outside, if he doesn't want to be a Man United player or not. He's still a Man United player now. I want him to play well when he's on the pitch. And I think that he hasn't down tools, which is, I know that he said he's wanting out. And I know that you could either, with this obviously issue that came up with obviously Miraola early in the week saying he wanted to leave, I think it's very much like, I don't think Pogba's a guy that will confront a lot of people, I think. So I think it's probably come down to he wanted to leave. Mino has just said, I'm going to come out and say this. And Pogba hasn't said anything or done anything. He's just sort of almost like tried to ignore it. And he's just like, well, whatever's got to happen, I guess. But I would have liked for him to stand up. But anyway, I think it's good to see him. At least he's not downing tools. At least he's still going out there and trying. But regardless, I still don't necessarily think I agree with starting, because if someone comes out publicly and says they don't want to play, I don't really know if you should be starting him. But I'm not the manager. Ollie's the manager and you picked him, so I'm going to get behind him. And but I still, as I said, would have put if Pogba's in the team, I would have had Pogba on the left, Van der Beek on the right of the diamond, Bruno at the top of that, and then having obviously Rashford and Greenwood there. I like to see Rashford and Martial there, obviously in the because obviously Martial's come back because there's not enough place, I don't think, for him and Rashford to play up front. You could put something like a 4-4-2 where you could do you could have like Martial and Greenwood up front, Rashford on the left, and then you could have a guy like a Juan Mata or a Dan James or a Lingard or someone on the right, because obviously we don't have enough depth to be able to put it there. But I guess if we were on right winger, that would be a good way to go, and then have your two midfielders being maybe Fred and Bruno or something like that anyway. But just an option. Obviously, I'm not the manager, so we'll just have whatever Man United, we'll watch whatever Man United play, I guess. So so there you go. But if you're watching, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and all my social media links as well will be in the description below. So make sure you go and follow them so you keep up to date with all the content I'm releasing over all those channels. So I think it's fun to get into player ratings. It's probably a bit of a quick one. It's only 9 minutes, but there's not too much really to digest. As I said, it wasn't the most intriguing game. It wasn't the most intriguing, exciting game as well. But what can you do? So not all games are going to be amazing 4-3, 3-2 games. So there you go. But if you're watching live as well, make sure you leave your player ratings in the live chat below, and I can interact with them while I'm live here. Or if you're watching this on replay, make sure you leave your player ratings in the comment section below, or just any thoughts on the game, any other thoughts in general in the live chat or on the comment section below. So let's get stuck in. David De Gea first. I think I'm going to give him a 7. I think he made 2 really good saves. I'm trying to think of the I can't remember which one it was in the first half, but it was a nice save. And then he also made a save with Rodri where it looked like it was going to creep into the bottom corner, but he's able to save that. So I think De Gea had quite a good game. Clean sheet, which is good. I think it's the first one in quite a while because obviously we've been conceding 1 or 2 goals first, and then we've had to come back and win from behind, or our Relux ran out like it did against Leipzig. But I think De Gea overall played quite well, and I think he still is a number one. I know a lot of people want to see Dean Henderson in the team, but I think David De Gea is still our number one keeper. And I don't really want to see too much rotation, obviously, because if the more continuity you've got, the better. I know it's a festive period, but goalkeepers, you can tend to lead the same goalkeeper there for an extended period. You don't have to always rotate them, whereas obviously the rest of your players, you do rotate. So move on to Wan-Bissaka. I think Wan-Bissaka was I think he was quite good today as well. I think he wasn't sucked in as much today with the centre-backs, which I wish would be a lot more of the norm, but for some reason they always get sucked in. I think he was good defensively. He did get skinned once by Sterling in the first half, but besides, I think he was generally quite good. His passing was quite good. His defending has always been very good as well. I think I'll probably give him a probably 7, I reckon, because we did keep a clean sheet as well. We did keep Man City from not scoring any goals. So I think defensively, I think I've got to be a bit more positive with the defenders. I think Lindelof and Maguire again, because it seems to be whatever I rate one, I rate the other. I think both of them get a 6 because I know we get a clean sheet, but they didn't. They had some good moments here or there. But like Lindelof especially sort of did some good things, didn't do too many bad things. He sort of just had a bit of an average game. I know he kept a clean sheet, so you could arguably give him a 7 as well. I just still don't like the centre back pairing. It's just they're both too slow. They don't complement each other. And yeah, so I think a 6 for him. And I think Maguire as well. I think Maguire was generally quite good, but I think the yellow card he obviously had, and he gave some cheap balls away in the second half. I think that probably I was looking at going to be giving him a 7, but I think that those couple of things probably downgrade him back down to a 6. You could argue and then say, well, Wan-Bissaka got skinned in the first half, but really that was the only real mistake I saw Wan-Bissaka make for the majority of the game. So he gets a 6 for me as well. Luke Shaw. What a game. What a game. The title of the thing is Luke Shaw was flawless because he was flawless. He was incredible today. I didn't see him get beaten once, and he went up against 2 very, very, very good wingers in Ferran Torres and Riyad Mahrez. Kept Riyad Mahrez in his pocket. Riyad Mahrez didn't really do anything. He had obviously that one chance where he was just completely open, but that's because Shaw had to come over to cover probably for one of the centre backs. I think it was Maguire for that one. But actually, no, it wasn't Maguire. It was just generally good play from Man City, and they got open. They got the extra man, and Shaw had to come in to try and stop it, and it was a good ball on it. But I think Luke Shaw, he either gets an 8 or a 9 for me, and kept a clean sheet. I think I'll still give him an 8. I think an 8 because I know he had a flawless performance, but if you got to get your 9s and 10s, I think you still have to win the game for the team. Like score a couple of goals like Cavani did, like get 2 goals and assists off the bench, but not just off the bench, but I'm just saying that's what Cavani did, but get a couple of goals and assist and win the game for your team or score a hat-trick. Obviously, if you get a hat-trick, you're probably going to get a 10 anyway, but it's just maybe more in the attacking sense. So if he got an assist as well today, that probably would have bumped him up to a 9. But I think an 8 is quite fair. I wouldn't argue with anyone that gave him a 9. I think you could quite easily give him a 9. I think he was flawless. I think as I said, didn't get beaten once. Passing was very good, and people were saying that Shaw wasn't playing well. A few people were saying that, and I don't understand why, because he was our best player, and I think majority of people are going to vote him man of the match. So I can already say it now. He's got my man of the match. There's no qualms about it. I'm not going to delay it any longer. He got a man of the match, and it's settled. So well done, Lukey. I still think he's one of the most underappreciated, underrated players, like especially fullbacks in the world, because people always talk about obviously Andy Robertson and Alphonso Davies, and obviously like Wan-Bissaka and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like Wan-Bissaka not lately because he obviously hasn't been great, but like Trent Alexander-Arnold and guys like that, I still think Luke Shaw's got to be in your top 10 fullbacks in world football. I don't think you can. I could name a few. I think you still put Alphonso Davies and Trent and Andy Robertson and guys like that above him, but I think he'd come in quite high. I would imagine, like maybe 6, 7, somewhere around there. I think he's very, very good defensively. I think he's better defensively than Andy Robertson. I think he's better defensively than Trent. I think he's one of the better defensive fullbacks in the world. It's just obviously he's always got that injury or two in him per season. I think Andy Robertson and Trent offer a lot more going forward. Same with Alfonso. I think Luke Shaw's got to improve going forward. But besides that, he's flawless defensively. So very good defensively and my man of the match. Scott McTominay gets a 6 for me. Had a bit of a so-so first half, but gave the ball away a couple of times. Didn't have a huge impact in the first half. He was better in the first 20 minutes of the second half, first half an hour of the second half, but then sort of faded a little bit again. He just plays too many sideways balls, and I don't understand what Ollie's obsession with playing him every single week. As I said, I would have put Donny in a diamond along with Pogba, Bruno, and Fred with the starting midfield we had. I don't understand why we can't still go back to a pivot of Fred and Van der Beek. It worked really well against Istanbul. Basaksa here. I always get that name wrong, but I got that right, I think, that time. We played it with those two, so I don't get why we don't play with it again. Could even play Fred and Pogba. We don't see that very often as well. Obviously, people don't want to play Pogba at moments, which I completely understand. I'm just throwing some potential combinations out there, but I don't know. McTominay just doesn't do it for me in terms of being a first team starter. I think he's a good squad player to have in the team, and that's about it. So he gets a 6 from me, and there you go. Fred, I think Fred gets a 7. I think again he's very, very important to the way that we play. Tenacious, always goes in for a challenge. He works probably harder than anyone on the pitch. He if you looked at the stats in terms of distance covered, and all those statistics, I think Fred would be the top of everything. Challenges won, he'd be the top as well. He's certainly not afraid of going for a challenge. Obviously, we saw it against PSG, which wasn't great. But yeah, he's just a dog man, and that's in a good way, not a bad way. He's just an absolute terrier around the pitch, which is good. I really enjoy watching Fred playing. Fred play. It's better English. Got to improve that. But yeah, so, and I don't know what that laugh was. Well, geez, okay. A couple of embarrassing moments there. But yeah, Fred 7 for me. Played quite well today. Bruno. I thought Bruno was quite quiet today. I thought. He had a couple of good moments there. He put Rashford through on it for a chance. I think he had a great chance for Greenwood. He had to put the ball in for Pogba. He won, obviously, the ball about Edison that put Pogba in for that chance. But I don't think he got on the ball a lot enough. And I think that was a bit more because of our defensive play with the team. That's why I don't think we got him. And we need to get him and Pogba both on the ball more, and along with Rashford and Greenwood. So I think Bruno's probably got to get a 6 because his standards are so high now that I think even being a little bit quiet, he's still got to probably downgrade a bit because he's just so good. He's one of the best players in the world at the moment. So a 6 for me. He had some good moments, as I said, but just didn't probably get involved as much as what I would have liked to see him get involved. So, but 6 is still good. 6 is average. So there you go. Paul Pogba, I think 6 as well. I think he started off quite well. I think he started off really well as one of our better players. But I think as the game went on, I think he started to fade. And I think that's a little bit due to, obviously, it could be mentally, could be with everything going on outside. It could be physically because he hasn't had a string of 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row playing consistent minutes. That could be another reason as well. But yeah, I think he did look tired towards the end of the game. But all in all, I think he had a decent performance. Obviously, people are not going to want him to play in the starting lineup, but I'm just obviously giving my opinion on what the players are doing during the game. So 6 for me. And if Pogba doesn't down tools and still plays, then so be it. If he's going to play in the starting 11, Ollie's going to keep picking him. So I'm not going to sit here and continue to complain about it whenever it happens. If he plays, it's good. Well, not good, but there you go. It's fine. He might be gone in January as well, so you could be getting more money for him playing him more. So we'll see. But who have we got next? Mason Greenwood. I think both Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford are probably going to get fives, I think, and I think that this is a situation where usually when you give a player a 5 or under, it's because they've had a bad game. I think that they get fives because I think it's a bit of the fault of the way that we played today, because we're obviously more defensive. They didn't get on the ball a lot. Greenwood had a chance. Rashford had a couple of chances. But they didn't have any clear-cut opportunities. They didn't create anything much for themselves. And yeah, as I said, just didn't get involved as much as probably what I would have liked. So that's probably where I sit with that, with getting fives. But it's, as I said, certainly not a -5. It's a 5. It's almost like I'm giving you a 5, but it's not from fault of your own. It's more because of the way we played and you guys not getting involved much, because obviously you didn't get a lot of service today. So both 5s for me. And then we only got the one sub today, which is one final point I do want to talk about after I talk about Martial, is about Ollie. And I'll give Ollie's player rating as well for the game, not player rating, because he didn't play. Played a long time ago. Martial coming on 6. I don't think, again, he didn't have a lot of time to work with, 15, 20 minutes, I think it was in the end. I was glad that Luke, obviously, he wasn't coming on for Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw went down when he was coming on. I got worried again. I was like, here we go. Luke Shaw played really well, and then he gets another injury again. But glad he didn't, and glad Fred also stayed on, because Fred got injured in the first half as well with the clash with De Bruyne. But I think Marcel just didn't really have a lot of time to work with, didn't have too much service again. So I think, as I said, I think our forwards didn't have enough service today. So he gets a 6. And then we move on to Ollie. I think I'll give Ollie a 5, because for me, if you'd probably need to win or have a good game and get a draw to get a 6, right? And this is the point I wanted to discuss. The thing that annoys me the most about Ollie, I'm still Ollieing, by the way. I don't want to see us sack another manager. Is that he continues to leave substitutions too late, which I don't understand. And he continues to pick players that are his favourites and that shouldn't necessarily be in the starting 11 every game. Lindelof and Maguire shouldn't always be the 2 starting centre backs every game and never be dropped. I'd like to see Maguire and Bailly, or Bailly and Lindelof, or Tuanzebe and Lindelof, or Tuanzebe and Maguire. I'd like to see some rotation there, or played, especially Tuanzebe as well. I think he's played well. He played really well against Neymar and Mbappe. You can't really get many more dangerous players than those two. And he did really well. I know it was in the back 3, but he still did well when he was up against them. I don't understand why. And it's because he had that one bad game against Başakşehir here in Istanbul, and we lost the game which is essentially the game that got us knocked out of the Champions League. And he didn't have the best game, but I still wouldn't just give up on him and just be like, no, you played crap once, you're to the side, you're not playing for a while now. I'd still be playing him. He's been highly touted for years now through our academy youth system as he's going to be great. He's got really high expectations, but we don't play him a lot. So I don't understand that. And Ollie always leaves his subs until after 60 minutes. You should be, like, I know that you can make a few subs around the 60, 70, 75th minute, but you can't just we only made one sub, obviously, with Martial, but you should be making your subs a bit earlier. So it's always frustrating me. Ollie's done it from essentially day one. He always reacts really slow. Some games he does bring him on, but it's more when he's forced to, like when we're down 2-0 against Southampton, he brings on Cavani, and I can't remember who the other person he brought on that day. And then against West Ham, he brought on a couple of players as well and had to react quick. But besides the odd occasion where we might be down early, he's got to, not where we are down early quite a bit actually lately, but when we are down, he does make some changes quickly. But some other games, he just doesn't make changes, which is unacceptable as a manager, because as a manager, you got to be on the ball. You got to know when to make your subs. And I think it's a bit foolish only making one sub because we're in a festive period. You need squad rotation. Only making one sub seems like a bit of a waste opportunity in my eyes. You could have brought, I know you could have brought one Sakharov and brought Fosu-Mensah on. You could have brought Boy on for 1 or 2 centre backs and gave them a rest because he loves those 2 centre backs so much. So you could have given him a rest and put Boy on for a little bit. I get that he wanted to obviously get the clean sheet and keep the result, which is fine. Obviously, Van de Beek didn't even come on, which was, again, I don't know why he's the scapegoat all the time. I don't know why he continues to be left on the bench and not being utilised as much as what he should be. We did, obviously, bring Martial on, but we had other guys as well that I can't think. Like could have brought Telles on for sure, maybe giving him a rest again, but I think he played that well. I don't know if we would have brought him off, but we had options, but he loves McTominay so much, so why not just bring McTominay off and give him 10 minutes rest and bring Matic on? But I don't know, he just doesn't seem inclined to make his changes as early as what he should be. So there you go. But again, I'm not the manager, so I can't tell him what to do. He's not going to listen to me, that's for sure. Not from some bloke that lives in Australia, that's for sure. So there you go. But so we got a draw anyway. I guess it's not the worst result especially against Man City. We stay above them by a point. We're still in around amongst that. I think that was our last really, really tough game for a few games. I think we got Leeds and Sheffield United. And I think Leicester, besides that game against Man City, I don't think that they've been quite inconsistent. They've had some good games, they've had some poor games. So I think we got them in our next 3, I believe. So hopefully we can pick up maximum points there would be nice, but 2 wins and a draw I'd settle for. But we should be going for 3 wins there, and hopefully keep in touch with all these teams at the top of the tree. I don't expect us to win a title, but we need to keep in top with them. We need to keep within touching distance to them so we can get top 4, because that's obviously we need that to re-qualify for Champions League, because we're certainly not. I don't really want us to take the Europa League too seriously. I'd much rather just sort of get knocked out and just focus on the Premier League. But we'll see what happens with that when we play that in February. So there you go. So anyway, that's it for the review date. Not as probably long as, still gone for 27 minutes. I've still rambled on for almost half an hour. But not the most exciting game, quite a boring game in the end. But hey, we get a point against Man City, and I think you'd take that more often than not, even though it would have been nicer to have 3 points. I think there was chances there to exploit, which we didn't, and Man City also had chances as well, and so there you go. But I think a draw probably would suffice for both teams. So there you go. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All support is very much appreciated. It helps the channel out a lot. So thank you very much for that. Social media links are in the description below, so make sure you go follow them. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Turn notifications on so you don't miss any other content in the future when I go live for other match reactions or any other content I release. And that'll be it from me for tonight, or this morning. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see everybody in the next match reaction. I'm out. Cheers.